Okay, Krishna, this is Chris. I'm just gonna go through this demonstration here. I am working on the. Let's take a look at this. I'm looking on the one that is multiple payments awarded every subsequent should no longer play. That is working fine. Has a settings mentioned 7 location email is set to yes and print is set to no, and it only displays the entry fields to enter the email. The problem is that there isn't a way to tell it not to send an email. I need you to not call email sales credit receipt if the email address is blank. I'll show you that not happening. And then I'm also going to show you some other stuff. So we'll get to it. I'm going to log in 0011, and then I'm going to log into the Tucson tasting room. All right. Tucson tasting room has a hold order for tip equal to yes, and it has finalized payment equal to yes. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit checkout, and then I'm going to do one credit card payment, not two, just one. Okay. And then so I'm going to hit credit card, but I'm going to hit the finalized payment too. So there, I'm going to have to stop this so I can run the transaction. So pause. Okay, we're resuming again. I'm going to reshare my screen. All right. So here's where I'm getting a little bit confused. Okay, there's no way to not do this. So I'm thinking that in order to not send an email address, I'm just going to leave this blank and then hope that you don't call the email sales credit receipt API, because if you do, it's going to pop you back a message saying that no email address. Well, I know there's no email address, and that's how I'm going to tell the system not to send it. Okay, so I'm going to add a tip. I'm going to sign for it. I'm going to hit done. Okay, here's this capture already in process. Yes, it failed to do that, but it also called this. You're calling a bunch of APIs without waiting for a response. So that's messing things up. So if you call the API that, let me just take a look here. If you call close payment API, you have to wait until that finishes before you go ahead and call anything else. If you don't, you're calling close order before this is done, and that's where it's calling that capture and process error. And we have to, if you call close payment, you have to wait for the response. If it's a successful response, then you can call close order API. If it is not, then you need to show the error message so that we can handle it appropriately. So in order to do this, to fix Tucson, you need to do these things. So that means when you call close payment API, you're calling it when you should, but you need to wait until that response comes back before you call close order, because if you don't, then it's thinking it needs to charge it again when it shouldn't. Because it's never mind the reasons, just do me a favor, wait until the close payment API is finished and you get a response, then you call close order API. All right, and then as far as the email that failed to provide an email address, if there is no email address, please do not call email sales credit receipt, because there's no point in it, because you're going to get an error message. Okay, and we don't need to be clicking on a bunch of error messages that we know we didn't put an email address, so why do you need to tell us that? Okay, otherwise, there are some things that are going well. I have approved a couple things that you've done. This one keeps failing, and it's really starting to frustrate me. And that is the one where you see this order, 2015, 2011 Chardonnay, 2011 Chard, and then 2010. Now I'm going to hit add to order. And this list should show the exact same way. But if I hit add to order, it's all messed up. And that's because you are doing something to reorganize them. I'm asking you to not do that and just call. If they hit add to order and a change is made, I need you to call get order details, because that's going to give you the same. That's going to give you the same. In the response of it's going to give you it in the same order as you did with pending orders, because the get order details is giving you that list in the order every time the same way. It's not changing it. So I need you to call that when you go from pending orders and you hit the add to order button. Okay? Add to order button means if there's a change on pending orders, you have to hit calculate for checkout, and then you call add to order. You say get order details when you are loading this list on the new order screen if you're coming from pending orders. Okay? If you do that, we will have solved this issue and we should be good to go. So you can work on that tomorrow. I'm going to stop.